Hello, beautiful people. Honest Am here, the creator of the Honestly Sis newsletter, the creator and writer of the Honestly Sis newsletter, a bi-weekly newsletter geared towards millennials who are truly trying to get their shit together. And I am here for another daily motivational video where we use this tarot to become the alchemist of our lives. A little bit about me. I do not just use this tarot. I use God and passes in the same sentence. I may mispronounce some things, but if it does not stop turning me into God, it will not stop me. All right, y'all. Angel number 17 and 32. Make sure you check out the description box below. There are always additional messages as well as information about me and honestlysis.com. So the two messages that came out is blue flame, connect to the blue flame, which is the light of pure love within you, and free spirit. To be a free spirit is to float without walls, to fly without judgment, and to love without conditions. And to love without conditions. And so I feel like what this message is, what God is saying is that, for one, you know, you are worthy of love. And I feel like what God is saying is that it's time for you to start. I feel like we had this message before, but I feel like he's saying it's time for you to embrace your free spirit so that you can allow your creations to come to life. This message of creation is saying being creative is a wonderful way of witnessing the unfolding of your limitless creative soul. And so for some reason, I'm getting the feeling that you are the type of person who doesn't necessarily view themselves as a creator. Like, I feel like maybe you are a very like atypical person. Like maybe you have like a finance job or something like that. And I feel like lately you have been thinking about doing some creative things, maybe not like stuff like drawing or something, but I feel like you've been thinking about doing something outside of your norm. And I feel like what God is saying is just to allow yourself to, you know, follow your intuition, follow your nudges, because that's going to naturally take you to the next level in your life. Like, we have to realize that we are just natural creatives. Like, most times when we talk about being creative, a lot of people think automatically about like artists and stuff like that. But I feel like what God is saying is that I feel like maybe in your field, there's some things that you have been wanting to do differently, and it may be outside of the norm or outside of the traditional realm. And I feel like God is saying, allow yourself to do that. Like, as long as you're doing things from a place of love, from a place of good intentions, then it'll ultimately work out for the good, and it has God blessing. I feel like we are just moving in a time where a lot of us have been called to like start to step up and to start, you know, having a different way of being in this world. Like, I feel like we're no longer have this luxury of just sitting on the sidelines and feeling like, oh, that's not my problem. Like, I feel like God wants us to really, you know, start putting our own spin and our own creation of light, and God is just saying to embrace whatever that may be for you. So, God, clarify this one last message. Clarify this message of blue flame and free spirit. What are you trying to get us to understand about connecting to the blue flame within us and allowing ourselves to be a free spirit and to just love without conditions and have no judgment for others? Money isn't everything, but you are right when you think money isn't everything. You certainly do not need money to have joy in your experience. But in your society where so much of what you live is tied to money in some way, most of you associate money with freedom. And since freedom is the basic tenet of your being, then coming into alignment with money will help you establish a balanced footing that will be valued to you in all other aspects of your experience. And so I feel like what God wants you to understand is that your relationship with money is a direct reflection. Your relationship with money is a direct relationship with your spiritual relationship. So if you find yourself that you're constantly, you know, working paycheck to paycheck, or you're constantly just living in a state of anxiety and fear, then that means that there is something inside of you that does not trust God. And so what God is saying, he wants you to start addressing your money problems. He wants you, I actually did an abundance challenge last year. It was like a 21-day challenge, and we really dealt with like our mindset and understanding like our relationship with money. And I really felt like I came to some type of understanding with my relationship with money, and it definitely has improved. Like, I still have times where I get a little anxious, but it's definitely not how it used to be. And so I know that that means that my relationship with God is also improving. I'm also learning to trust him in more areas of my life. And so what God is saying is that you are worthy of having financial freedom. You are worthy of having financial abundance. And it has nothing to do about you, going to school for the right thing or you living in the right area. None of that. Like, it again starts with you feeling like you are worthy of it inside, and you accepting yourself, and you accepting wherever or however life is trying to lead you. God is not judging you for anything that you want, anything that you need. Like, it's here because it's for you. So he's not judging you either way. But I feel like what he wants you to do is to address that relationship, address if there's a need for you to repair your relationship with him or repair your relationship with money. Last thing that God wants you to understand is that my attention to unwanted attracts more unwanted. For every, angel number 555, for every pleasing thing, there is an unpleasing counterpart. For within every particle of the universe that is wanted, as well as the lack of that which is wanted. When you focus upon an unwanted aspect of something in an effort to push it away from you, it is bringing it closer. So if you're constantly focusing on, I want money, I want money, I want money, what you're really telling the universe is, I don't have enough money, I don't have enough money, I don't have enough money. And so you're constantly pushing the money away. So what God wants you to understand is that your attraction to unwanted is going to keep you having more unwanted. So if you keep thinking about how, I don't make enough money, or I need to make more money, or this is not enough, it's going to just keep magnifying it in your experience. When you focus upon an unwanted aspect of something in an effort to push it away from you, it only comes closer, because you get what you give your attention to, whether it is something you want or not wanted. It is up to you to focus upon and attract what is wanted. So God is saying, it's nothing wrong with you thinking about money. It's nothing wrong with you feeling like you want to be financially stable, but you are thinking about it wrong. Like, if you're constantly thinking about the lack of it, or how can I find a job that will give me enough money, then you're not, you're focusing on the unwanted aspects. Well, God is saying, focus on, what would be an ideal job for me? What would it feel like to not have to worry about my money, or have to worry about, how my bills are going to get paid on a day-to-day basis? Angel number 727. What would it be like? Honestly, it's just like a mindset shift. I was in Bell Tire, and my back passenger tire was, the wheel was cracked. And so they had told me about this like back in October. And eventually I got the money for it, and I got tired of putting air in my tires. So I'm like, you know what? I am going to just take care of this problem. Like, I'm tired of putting air in it. I'm tired of like going out to my car being like, I don't know if it's going to be ready to go or if it's going to be flat or not. I don't want to worry about this problem no more. I'm going to take care of it. So I get it fixed or whatever. And like, it's riding good for like maybe 2 or 3 days, and then my tire pressure like come back on, and I find myself putting air in the tire again. And I'm just like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, I just paid to get this tire fixed, and it's still a problem. So I didn't want to go to the other one, because I'm like, maybe, maybe it's like, because it's like a gross point. So like, maybe it's like a discrimination thing. Like, maybe they don't want to fuck with black people and blah, blah, blah. So I go to the one in Southfield. And long story short, the man ended up telling me that they put the wheel on the wrong side. Like, they put it on my driver's side instead of my passenger side. And so, like, I'm irritated. Like, I'm damn near about to cry, because I'm like, I don't want to pay for this again. Like, this is so fucked up. Like, I went out of my way to not, to not have this problem. Angel number 901. Like, it just don't feel fair that I got to go through this again. And so this lady was telling me, she was like, she was just telling me, like, when you have a car or a house, you always are going to be fixing on something. Like, there's always going to be something that's going to be taken care of. If it's not, you getting new tires, then it's you getting your oil change. If it's not you getting your oil change, it's going to be your brakes. If it's not your brakes, it's your lights. Like, it's always going to be something that's going to go on with your car. So just get that in your mindset, right? then she was like, and then she was kind of like telling me about her situation. Like she like, do you know, like kind of trying to calm me down. Like, you know, do you have to take care of it right now? You know, age over 940, is this something that can wait? Can you piecemeal it? Like, you know, she's like, I don't want you to cry. Like, you gonna be able to take care of this. She's like, 'cause if you cry, I'm gonna cry. So then she, you know, me and her talking, and she was telling me how she was like, you know, well, I don't have a car note, so I just look at it as this is just, you know, me charging it to the game. And I'm like, well, I don't have a car note either. And she's like, well, girl, stop crying about it. And like, honestly, when she said it that way, like, it changed my mindset, because I realized, like, yeah, this is not something that I have to constantly pay for it. Like, maybe, you know, three or 4 months out of the year, I'm going to have to put money in a car, but that's better than having to pay on a car note every single month, and on top of that, putting money on top of my car. You know, like, it was like this mindset shift. And I was fine until like I came back home from the airport, and my tire was flat, and I was pissed off. But I took it back up to that Bell Tire, and the first morning, I'm saying this to say, it's all about how you put your attention to it. So I woke up the next morning, and I wasn't like, you know, I really centered myself, and I was like, God, I don't want to pay for another tire. Like, I don't want to fight these people for this. Like, please just give me the words to say to allow this situation to go smoothly. Like, I don't want to be fighting these people. Like, I just want my tire fixed. I don't want to be putting air in my tire every day. That's all I want. I just want to be able to get in my car and go. And so I say my little prayer, and then I call. The guy was just like, you know, me and him were on the phone for like a minute. He's like, oh, well, in the system, it says your right, you know, your right side. I'm like, is that the passenger side? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, yeah, you put it on the wrong side. And he's like, well, can you come in? And so long story short, I dropped the car off, and he was just like, you know what? I don't know if we said it wrong or we did the paperwork wrong, but we give you a new tire. You come pick your car up, and then we just gonna call you when you get a new one free of charge. So I say all that to say, if I would have just kept focusing and being like, oh, these people are discriminating against me, and they don't, you know, they against me, and they don't want to help me, and blah, 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 the situation could have went totally different. But instead, I changed my attitude. I was just like, you know what? I have to pay for the maintenance of this car. This is something that I have to do. I don't want to, you know, like, you have to tell yourself what you want and just only focus on that. And my outcome is that I just wanted to be able to safely drive my car without paying another $250 for a fucking crack wheel. And it ended up happening. All right, that's all I got to say. It's like angel number 1218. So, God, one final message to clarify this message of, you know, connecting to the blue flame, understanding that we are a free spirit, understanding that our relationship to money is a direct reflection of our, you know, relationship with you and God. How can we learn to change our attention to what we do want and what we don't want, and to know that it's just our right to be a creative being. Make it as plain as possible, God. One card only, God. One card only. So, the Age of Light in Lemuria, creating heaven on earth. It is happening. Transformation. Things are happening at a cellular level. Deep healing in the Age of Light. You've been training lifetimes for this. So what God is trying to get you to understand is that we actually had this card come out last week. Whatever. I can't. Let me not pretend like I know when this video gonna come out to you. But so this card actually speaks all about all of us having a part to do. This speaks about, you know, when we feel like we're not worthy of it, we are worthy of the blessing. And so that's what God wants you to get to understand. And like, you know, money isn't everything, but like, yeah, the reason why you want this type of lifestyle, or you're feeling this type of way, is because you're worthy of it, because you had it before, you want it back again. And so what God is saying, in order for you to get that, in order for you to get the things that you are wanting and dreaming for, you have to focus on what you want and not what you don't want. You have to stop being so judgmental of others and just allow yourself to be loved unconditionally and love others unconditionally. Angel number 1404. Lemuria, creating heaven on earth, is happening now. I feel like what God is saying, I'm actually going to read, because we got transformation here. Transformation, things are happening at a cellular level, deep healing. I feel like that's why you've been feeling like these nudges and all of this stuff has been happening, like you're starting to pay attention to the relationship that you have with money, is because you are currently going through a transformation. And so God is saying, as you're going through this transformation, as you're getting this deep healing, don't focus on the things that you're losing. Don't focus on how uncomfortable it is, but really focus on where you're going and all of the information and the knowledge that you're gaining. But the card that we're going to focus on is Lymeria, creating heaven on earth. It is happening. And that's so funny. I literally say that every single day. Transmission card. I always say, God, help us bring heaven on earth. That's something I always say when I do this. So I feel like that's a confirmation that this channel and everything that I'm doing is, God is in alignment with it. So let's read this. Angel number 1521. Lemuria or Mu is one of the earth's lost lands where heaven really was a place on earth, a time before we were kicked out of the Garden of Eden. In Lemuria, life worked in harmony. All beings were seen as equal, and we were deeply revered to Mother Earth. We knew that a mosquito was no worse than us, and the sun no better. Perhaps you too believe that heaven really can be a place on earth. Perhaps you are a part of a transition team who at soul level are devoted to creating this kind of harmony on the planet now. Thank you for doing this work. It is easy to get overwhelmed by the state of affairs on the planet right now, but you are being encouraged to keep holding the clear vision of the future. It's closer than you think. You may be guided to hold the frequency of Lemuria in your own community, family, workplace, or within yourself. Know that it is possible, and while at times it may feel like you are alone, you truly are not. There are hundreds of thousands who hold the codes of this ancient lost land, and even Lemuria crystals that hold the codes of remembering that are being raised all over the planet. Keep doing what you are doing, and remember, the only way to heal the world around us is to first heal ourselves. Angel number 1644. So I want you guys to put your hand on your heart and just touch and agree with me as I say this. I hold the codes of Lemuria and believe that heaven really can be a place on earth. I hold the codes of Lemuria and believe that heaven really can be a place on earth. I hold the codes of Lemuria and believe that heaven really can be a place on earth. Ashe. And guys, I'm sorry, but I am being called to also read the transformation card, and this is actually an activation card. So please make sure if you have it, just pause it for a second, pause whatever you're doing and actually look at this video so that you can get this activation. Angel number 1730. Things are happening at a cellular level. Deep healing. Things are changing at a cellular level. You are not who you were a year ago or who you will soon be. You are in between, emerging half risen, half fallen. Keep doing the work. You are transforming. You will look back at this time with awe. So much is happening in your inner world and within yourselves. It's time to release old ways of being that have kept you in fight or flight mode. To choose a new way of being where trauma is not the driving force. Old childhood patterns are rising up to be healed. As you allow yourself to observe them and feel them without attachment, they loosen their grip and fall away. You are being called to find new ways to self-soothe. Saturn and the Black Madonna and the African goddess Oshun influence this card. Saturn represents destruction and transformation. The Black Madonna represents the underground and all that has been cast aside. And Oshun represents the tender love of the original mother. A retreading is happening, healing at the deepest of levels. While you are in this phase, do not put yourself under the pressure to perform. You may need to review your relationship with your body, perhaps even shift your diet or exercise regimen or getting energetic healing support. You may also need to consider some kind of emotional support as issues from your childhood may come up to be healed. You are deeply loved. So, I feel like what God is trying to say, angel number 1909, we know that we're in this period of transition. I've been saying this a lot on the channel. What God is trying to get you to understand that anything that is coming up, whether it is stuff about, money, if it's stuff about your relationship, if it's stuff about, your family, like God is wanting you to understand that all of that is just coming up to be resolved. And actually, I'm going to read one final thing for you before I close this out, because this actually, I've been dealing with this personally, where, I just been like, why am I going through this stuff with my family? Like, why does it feel this way? And God wants us to understand that everything that has happened to us is happening to us for a reason. So I'm actually going to run and get this, because I feel like this is very important. So one second. Out the bed. Get out. Out. Down. Get down. Don't get in here no more. Stay in your room. Go in your bed. Move. Come on. Stay out of my bed. I'm sorry. It's number 2028. I don't know what's up with my dog. He just keep being in my bed. All right, so let me read this. We each come into this life to learn, relearn, or unlearn something we need to know. As difficult as it may be to accept, we chose the exact circumstances into which we are born. Whether it is poverty, abandonment, abuse, rejection, or disease, our deepest self knows the lessons we must learn. Our mind chooses the path. Life lessons are few: peace, freedom, strength, justice, faith, and love. All the answers you need are buried within you. For just a moment, let go of the anger, fear, guilt, shame, and blame. Focus all your attention on the center of your being and ask yourself, what is it that I must learn? The more often you ask, the more sincere you are to know, the faster the answers will come. I am willing to take full responsibility for me. This is Acts of Faith by our auntie. So I read that message because God wants you to understand that your past, no matter what you've gone through, it is happening for you to benefit you. It didn't happen for you to, stay stuck in this place, for you to beat yourself up constantly. But until we acknowledge that it happened, until we acknowledge that, yes, I have been abandoned. Yes, I have been taken advantage of. Yes, I have been betrayed and abused and not cared for and not have my needs nurtured. But that don't mean that I'm not worthy of it. That just means that that's just something I've been through. God is saying, stop focusing on the negative. Stop taking it so personal and just ask yourself, what is this trying to teach me? Why did my soul choose to come in this? And what I realized is that my soul chose my family to show that you don't have to come from a loving background to become the alchemist of your life. You don't have to have a mother who nurtured you and guided you and told you that you were going to be beautiful and great for you to make it. You don't have to have a father in your home. You can be fucked up and make it too. Because we're all fucked up some way and somehow. We all have our own cross to bear. But the difference between the people who make it and the people who don't is that they choose to allow their cross to drag them down. They choose to hold back in it. They choose to keep focusing on the unwanted. And all that does is just allowing it to just keep happening over and over and over again. But we don't have to do that anymore. At last, there is a new day. We have all been chosen to be a part of this transformation in society. And to do your part, it doesn't take you marching in the street or sitting your ass at anybody's counter or anything like that. All it takes for you is to go within yourself and to know that you can have both time and money and freedom too. All right. So guys, put your hand on your heart and touch and agree with me on this. I allow myself to receive the deepest healing and transformation. I allow myself to receive the deepest healing and transformation for change to happen at a cellular level. I allow myself to receive the deepest healing and transformation for change to happen at a cellular level. I allow myself to receive the deepest healing and transformation for change to happen at the cellular level. Hey, God, what happens if we allow ourselves to go through this transformation? God, what blessing comes to us if we just stop focusing on the negative and focusing on building our relationship with you, focus on healing our childhood wounds, focus on creating heaven on earth? What comes to us, God? Make it as plain as possible. Just one blessing. Trust your intuition. It's a great time to learn a new skill, change careers, or invest in some money. Positive work outcomes will bring consistent work efforts will bring rewards, and a major person is worth making. So what God is saying, if you allow yourself to go through this transformation, if you allow yourself to transmute that pain of your past, if you bless your past, release your past, and start focusing on where you're trying to go, if you focus on helping creating heaven on earth and not on the unwanted, you will be able to trust your intuition and naturally get every single thing that you want. You would easily become the alchemist of your lives. But again, the choice is yours. So what would you do? Go for it or be a fool. All right, y'all. That's all the messages I have for you. Angel number 2533. Until we meet again, dream those dreams. Never let the internet rush you, and never, ever, ever tell someone what you cannot do. Namaste. Peace and blessings to you. Bye-bye.